Hello, my name is Martin Bernardin and we're at Montreal River Outpost.
And what made you and your wife get this business going 7 years ago?
It started out as a canoe manufacturing business, and we had some shop space left over, and we decided, well, maybe we should open an outdoor retail store at the same time. Provide, service to the people here and tourists that come up here, the opportunity to buy quality gear and to be able to rent canoes, kayaks, and paddleboards, and enhance people's adventures up here.
Really quickly, what were you doing before you started this business?
I used to be an engineer up in a uranium mine up McLean Lake.
Why did you get out of it? Was it market volatility, or you just wanted a change of life?
It was a change of life, change of pace. I was kind of running both business, like my full-time job plus running the business part-time on my weeks off, and at one point we just had to make a decision as to which way we wanted to go.
Mm-hmm. And so you mentioned a few of the items that you do provide for the community. Are there any others? I have seen some stand-up paddle boards on the lake, and that seems like a new thing for a person that's been away from the community for a bit. So are there any other hot items that you provide?
Yeah, we provide stand-up paddle boards, kayaks, canoes. Stand-up paddle boards were kind of really new when we first started up, and we've gone through, they're actually very popular these days, and a lot of people are getting out and doing that sort of thing.
Any guiding or no?
We do shuttles. So, if you wanted to go to wherever you're going there to McLennan Lakes, but you didn't want to drive up there for whatever reason, maybe you're going to paddle all the way back here, I'd give you a ride up there, load your canoes. I can rent you canoes if you had a big group coming with you, so rent you guys canoes, throw you in the van, drive you guys up there, pick you up where you're finished, just pretty much anything short of actually guiding you.
The canoe race through Eagle Point Canoe Club, are you going to be involved, or would you have a message for any of those racers? Do you know those people that are in that group?
For sure, I've raced that race many times, and I'll have canoes there that we manufacture here. Tomorrow I'm going to be in a safety boat on this side of Nut Point and watching the racers go through.
And this may be a good question for if we pop over into the shop, but have canoes or paddles changed at all? Because we have a really great historical lineage here on the Churchill River system of hundreds of years in the fur trade and people building canoes with birch. So I imagine there's probably been some innovations, but... There
has. The basic shape of the canoe is, given how many years of evolution there's been on it, has remained fairly constant. So a canoe from back in, the fur trade days still resembles a canoe today. And there's not a whole lot of things that, you could take somebody out of the 1600s or 1800s and show them what it is today, and it would be recognizable to them. But the materials have certainly changed, and we build here some of the most technologically advanced canoes that you could buy anywhere in the world. We basically use aerospace processes and aerospace materials to create, like I said, some of the most technologically advanced canoes anywhere.
That's amazing. And I saw on your website that you are a retailer for Canoe, and that they're located in Ronge. So how do you work as a distributor for them? Are they involved with your business?
Well, I am the owner of Canoe Company. So.
Nice. So it's a husband and wife kind of two-sided thing between the retail and the shop.
My wife basically owns the store, and I own Canoe Company, the manufacturing side.
And so were you interested in, were you building these kind of canoes and stuff prior to the business?
Yes, I've been building canoes as a business since about 2005. At the time we had a shop in Saskatoon where I built them, and when we chose to move up here, we packed up the shop for a few years until we found this place and started up again. Welcome to the shop. This is Canoe Company. The other half of store or the other half of the building that Montreal River Outpost is in. So we basically walk from one side where we got a nice retail space, and we move over to the manufacturing shop. So in here we build some of the most technologically advanced canoes in the world. We basically use aerospace process and aerospace materials to build canoes. So we could take these canoe molds here, take them out of the shop, and bring rocket ship molds in, and using the same technology, using the same materials, start building rocket ships. How the process works, this is a mold here. What we do is all our canoes are fabricated using carbon fiber, Kevlar, and other aerospace type stuff, which starts out as fabric on the wall over there. And so we roll it out onto the table, cut it into pieces, and then stick it into the mold here. And once all the material is laid in, and in a typical canoe that we build here, there'll be between 22 and 30 pieces of material that typically go into the building of a boat. And everything is laid in here dry, which is different than a typical fiberglass type shop where you put one layer of material in, you wet it out, put another layer in, wet it out, and you're under the gun to get everything wetted out as quickly as you can before the resin starts setting up. So it doesn't allow for a lot of creativity in how the canoes are put together. Whereas here, all the materials are put in dry before it's wet out. So we can spend as much time as we need placing partial pieces of material where it's going to provide you benefit and not putting it, where you don't need it. So there's a lot of variation in thickness in our canoes. Materials put where they're going to provide you benefit, and we take it out where you don't need it. Our gunnels and our seat mounts and everything are all fit in there dry with the boat, so it's all monocoque construction. Once we've got all the materials laid in dry, and it's kind of held together using a tack spray, which is kind of like an industrial hairspray that just kind of keeps everything from falling apart and falling down. We will then run a piece of spiral wrap down the bottom, and we run another piece of spiral wrap up here around the perimeter, and then we seal this whole thing into a plastic bag. Yeah, and so the spiral wrap that runs around the perimeter here will then come out of the plastic bag and get connected to a vacuum pump. So then we put this whole thing under vacuum, suck the materials down. So now the materials are all fully compressed with no air voids inside of them. And then we take, that spiral wrap running down to the bottom will come out of the bag and will go into a pot of resin. So then when we're ready, this will have a valve on it. We open the valve, and the vacuum pressure will actually suck the resin down into the bag, down the spiral wrap, and the resin will start diffusing out the cracks in the spiral wrap and work its way from the bottom of the boat up to the vacuum point at the top. And so this is a process called vacuum infusion. It's hard to visualize on camera, without actually. No, number one, we don't use any of the cheap resins that have a lot of volatiles in them. Everything we do is using epoxy resin, which has next to zero VOCs in it. So what you smell in the shop today is as strong a smell as you'll...
I don't really smell anything.
Yeah, it kind of smells like oranges because we use an orange solvent sometimes for cleaning stuff up. So this mold has heat tracing on it. So in order to basically, because the whole vacuum infusion process is a fairly complex process, and there's a lot of variability in it. So we try and remove as many variables as we can. So this is heat tracing on here, so it allows us to temperature control the mold, so that when we do the resin infusion, that the mold is always at the same temperature. We also keep the resin at the same temperature. So the resin is heated to a constant temperature before we actually do the infusion. And so then the infusion always happens more or less the same way.
You are an engineer.
Kinda. Yeah.
Nice. Anything else you'd say about the novelty of what you do here?
Only that we build the best canoes here in the world, and that's not me being a salesman. It's the truth. We build canoes that are meant to be used here in the north. They're not, they're basically optimized to provide the users with the best experience they can.
And where do your canoes stay in the north, or do you supply any other retailers?
We've shipped canoes as far as the UK. We ship canoes all over North America. We've shipped, from PAI to Vancouver Island, down into the eastern states, down to Texas. We've got canoes all over the place.
Obviously, this is a really weird year with COVID and stuff. Has that led to any difference in running the business, the bookkeeping, or even like a change in the clientele, maybe in the difference between the ratio of people domestically here versus tourists?
Yeah, for sure. We've noticed number one, we started off the season not knowing if we were going to have a season. Basically, we had a roadblock to get up here, and we weren't allowed to open as a business. So that started clearing up at the beginning of June, and by the beginning of July, we really started seeing a lot of people coming up here, like new people that maybe wouldn't normally choose to come and vacation in Saskatchewan. So you got local people from Saskatchewan coming up here that would normally, say, go to BC or Alberta or Ontario or overseas, that are choosing to, come and see what's going on in Northern Saskatchewan, right? So that's been pretty neat. We've also had a lot of local people that have decided that, they're staying home this summer, right? Because a lot of people, from here would normally, say, go vacation down south or, anywhere else, right?
So, has it been a net positive, would you say, or neutral?
We're probably going to finish the year on par, because we lost a couple of months in the beginning, but the last 2 months were a lot better than what they normally would be.
Nice.
Hopefully it's a trend that, this isn't just a blip, that, say next year people realize that, what we have up here, and that they don't have to travel to these far and away places to vacation, right?
What's the most obvious mistake, or what would you tell people that are thinking about doing a big trip or their first trip on the Churchill? What would your advice be to those people? Is that a bad question?
To practice, to not try and do everything at once, get your camping skills down, get your canoe skills down, and then combine them all together. Sorry.
It's okay. It's a busy business. It's bringing off the
And they've been out for a pre-pal.
Got her figured out? Yeah. Okay, everybody here, we got explain the race route. Most of you have done this race before, so it's pretty straightforward. Okay, one guy.
Oh, man.
It's 17 3/4 kilometers. If you vary a little bit in your course, maybe you can make it 20, I don't know. The first portage comes up pretty close, so what we've been doing the last few years is making one lap around this island. This island's about, what, a half a K long? So we're going to start at the end of this dock. Warren Kelly's the chief starter. When he says, when he's got the boats lined up, he's going to say go. You're going
to probably turn the siren on.
Okay.
Nice.
Beauty.
I'm Scott Fraser from Saskatoon.
I'm Brianna Van Leeuwen from Saskatoon.
So why would two people travel something like 800 kilometers to come and exert themselves on a body of water?
We do it because the community here is so great. Yeah, there's always the same people that show up, and it's the same people you can go on canoe trips with. That's why I like it.
We've come every year for the last 3 years, and yeah, there's nothing like it. Just go out and have a little supper fest with a bunch of people who love having a good time. So
nice. How was the paddle today?
The paddle was pretty tough. The waves were pretty exposed, but it was a good effort. Yeah, trying to chase down Bill and Jason, Team Watt.
Mostly just trying to stay ahead of Sid and Hillary. Actually, trying not to get beat by people who are a lot older than us.
And last question, when we were talking, you said that you love the territory, you love coming up here. You're actually thinking about moving here and making this your home if it can work out. So is that true?
Absolutely, yeah. I think I originally moved to Saskatoon from BC, and I think just the culture up here, like you can get out, you can go on the trails, you can just be like really in nature and feel totally removed from everything else. And a lot of people around here seem to be really, really dialed in. So we really want to get here.
Nice. Well, we hope it works out, and we can call you neighbors and members of the community soon.
Thank you.
For your time. So congratulations for taking first place in this recreational fun event, the canoe race, and you guys placing first in the long arm of that.
I'm Jason Watt. I'm from Canada Lake, Saskatchewan.
And I'm Bill Jeffrey, and I'm from Prince Albert.
And have you guys been in this race before? First time?
No, we've been in it before.
Have you ever won it?
First time we've ever been together in the race, though.
Nice.
I've done it once previously, but Bill's done it multiples.
And what was it like on the water today?
It was pretty rough in places, you know, around that first big point after the second portage, it was huge waves. But it was sort of fun.
Yeah. Manageable.
Yeah.
How did you get so far ahead of everybody else in your race?
Well, we were in second place, and then the people in Lori and Trevor were ahead of us by quite a bit, but they sort of got lost. We went stuck close to shore, and they went out further around an island, and I don't know.
We're still waiting for them.
Yeah, so we were sort of lucky because they were really fast.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like there wasn't any misdirection or foul play?
No. Nope, and we're sticking to that.
Right, yeah.
Nice. And how long have you guys been paddling?
I grew up sprint paddling in the club in PA in Saskatoon, and then just the last couple of years I've been paddling a bit more with Bill and with the Prince Albert Marathon Club. So yeah, just once a week we do a Thursday night paddle together, so I've been going out for that. And
you, Bill? How long have you been paddling?
I've been paddling since about 1972.
That's more than I got fingers.
Bill's the experience. Yeah.
Nice. Any advice for people that are looking to get into paddling or maybe even participate in this event?
I'd say drop down to your local club. Find a club. Most communities, especially Northern Saskatchewan, have a recreational club that you can pop in and just use the boats any night. And most of the time, we don't have those contacts, but drop down to your local. Try to find your local club and take part.
All right. Thank you very much for your time, guys.
Hey, you're welcome. Thank you.
So, Sid, thanks for having me out at this event. It's some challenging weather here, very windy, and some big waves I hear. But thanks for having us and for having everybody. And I understand you participated as well. So, thank you for organizing and participating. How did it go?
It went pretty well. It was kind of an interesting day. We had 5 canoes in the long race that started down the Campbell Channel, and the waves were really big there. Plus, we had 1 canoe got lost by missing the Nut Portage and continuing on towards marker 6 at the end of Nut Point. So they had a long paddle, but they eventually found themselves and got back on track. And once we got into Nut Bay, coming across Nut Portage, the waves were way down. It was calm, so it was good then coming back home to Eagle Point. Yeah.
Nice. And so this is the 26th year that this has happened.
Yes, we've never missed a year. A couple times we've had to vary the route a little if the weather was too wild, but we've gone ahead now 26 years in a row. So I'm not sure we're the longest running canoe race in Saskatchewan, but I suspect we are. In fact, we probably can say we're the longest continuous because we're the only race, because of COVID-19, the only race that went ahead this year.
No worries, no worries.
Yeah.
And just being involved with this in such a long-running event, I'm wondering, how has it worked out in terms of an event that brings people from elsewhere other than the Ronge? And have you seen that change, that ratio of people coming in to partake, or locals, people from the north? How does that break up in your mind?
Well, we've always had pretty good support from Saskatoon, Prince Albert. The top paddlers in Saskatoon usually come, and in the past we've had good support from Stanley Mission, Grandmother's Bay. We don't have them here this year, but they have pretty good paddling communities, or at least they have in the past. Locally, we used to have more young paddlers in the Ronge, and I'd like to see that grow again. But I guess we have to work on that.
And do you have any plans to, I know that you're very involved with like youth and general skiing in the community, but any plans to bolster the canoe club to drive that youth?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. You know, if there was some way we could do that, we should do that. And
especially as a distancing activity amongst everything going on, right? And
right.
No recreational activities via school.
Yeah, because canoeing, it's pretty easy to socially distance. COVID doesn't have to shut you down as a paddler, because even when you're in the canoe, you're 2 meters away from your partner. So yeah, we need to work on the youth side of things for sure.
Okay. Well, thank you for having us and everybody, and here's to year 27.
Thank you, and thanks for coming, Brandon.